Shadows twist where whispers grow. The edge of light begins to flow. A world unseen through fractured glass, where futures meet the echoes past. Step closer now, the veil is thin. A riddle starts where dreams begin. The experimental medium calls your name. Nothing here will be the same.
You know that feeling, that deep desire for just a quiet moment, some personal space away from all the noise? Well, back in 1971, Antoinette Moltzan felt that very strongly. She just wanted some peace in her special room.
Yeah, and little did she know that simple desire was basically the starting point for this incredible, really unexpected life journey.
Exactly. So, in this deep dive, we're exploring her story, Antoinette Moltzan's remarkable path, how these channeling abilities just sort of emerged.
Right. And we're drawing mainly from her own books, Open to Light and Order of Melchizedek. So this is her perspective, her experiences, the messages she received.
What's so fascinating is that she wasn't like seeking this out initially. It began as this inexplicable inner urgency, a feeling that just pushed her onto this path.
It really shows how extraordinary things can sometimes bubble up from very ordinary circumstances.
It does.
And as we talk about her first experiences, you might find yourself thinking about your own gut feelings, those little nudges or curiosities you get. Her story is a really interesting way to look at those moments. We want to shed some light on her unique path and the kind of wisdom she shared.
Okay, so let's get into it. This initial awakening, it starts back in 71, these moments before dawn where she just felt compelled to write.
Yeah, not like a conscious choice, I think I'll write now. More like her hand just started moving. Automatic writing, basically.
And how did she understand that? Did she immediately know what it was?
Well, she recognized them as gifts, she said, from her spirit guides, her teachers. And later, she identified it as automatic writing. She even referenced writers like Ruth Montgomery.
Okay. So she was trying to place it, understand it.
Exactly. She was actively trying to figure out what was happening, which is key, right?
Right.
When something unexpected like this happens, that first step is trying to understand.
And the messages themselves, what were they about?
They weren't just random scribbles. They offered new perspectives concerning the meaning of life and even hinted at physical and emotional healing through looking inward, through self-discovery.
Wow, imagine waking up to that kind of insight just flowing onto the page.
It must have been incredible. And again, she stresses it was driven by that deep inner urgency. Not her consciously trying, but something deeper pulling her.
That suggests maybe our biggest breakthroughs sometimes come when we're not forcing them.
Could be. Letting something else come through. And it wasn't just writing. Her other senses started changing too.
Right, she talks about a refined sensory nature, like hearing things, sensing things, knowing things before they happened.
Yeah, she called them the senses of the soul. Like her intuition was getting dialed way up. Hearing, sensing, knowing, even experiencing another person's thoughts sometimes.
Whoa, okay, that's profound.
It really points towards this idea of interconnectedness, doesn't it? And it hints that our perception might go way beyond just the 5 physical senses we usually rely on.
And she saw this as bigger than just her own experience too, right? This collective awareness idea.
Yes, exactly. She felt it was beyond your conscious effort, part of something happening on another level, another plane. She called it cosmic consciousness touching the system.
So like her personal awakening was maybe a ripple in a much bigger pond?
That's a good way to put it. It makes you think about how individual shifts might connect to, well, broader evolutionary changes in consciousness, a personal awakening as part of a larger unfolding.
So as all this is happening, this figure emerges in the messages, Master Andrew.
A key guide for her. She identified him as a disciple of the Christ.
And what was striking about him?
The consistency in how others perceived him. It wasn't just Antoinette. Her students, clients, they described him visually in very similar ways.
How so?
Like a very large, imposing form, bearded, with his great mane of reddish gold hair. And crucially, an aura of green. Many people reported that green energy.
Green energy. And Antoinette felt that too, in the room.
Yes, she experienced that green energy surrounding the room during the channeling sessions. It adds this tangible quality to it all.
It really does.
Yeah.
And there were other confirmations.
Quite a few compelling ones, like an artist, Elaine Urick, who actually drew Andrew before she even met Antoinette or knew anything about him,
Yeah.
just based on her own channeled impression.
Seriously, that's amazing.
Wasn't it? And then another student, Tim, recognized Andrew from Antoinette's description as his own guide. It suggests these weren't just individual hallucinations, but maybe tapping into something shared.
And that story about her son Carl looking like the picture of Andrew in her book.
Yeah. People kept telling him that after the book came out. It's one of those details that just makes you pause and think, about connections we don't understand.
Definitely blurs the lines. So what was Andrew's main message or purpose?
It seemed to be about empowerment. He emphasized that people have many choices in how they live, how they can access more joy. The core idea is personal agency, taking charge of your path to happiness.
And making choices from a deeper level, not just personality reacting.
Precisely. He talked about how an inner choice of the soul could open up a whole new dimension of self-awareness, tapping into that deeper intention, beyond just the surface stuff.
So we have more control over our inner world than we might think.
That's the takeaway, yeah. Potential for real transformation through conscious inner choice.
So how did the channeling itself feel for Antoinette? She said it was an honor, but also
A responsibility. Yeah, she took it very seriously, not lightly at all. She saw herself as a conduit for healing, for guidance, for love.
in the process. What was that like?
She described it as euphoric sometimes, a feeling of lightness in her body and mind. But interestingly, she'd often feel really sleepy right before connecting.
Sleepy, like needing to relax completely.
Seems like it. Suggests a state of deep receptivity was necessary. She explicitly said you have to trust the process, just let go and allow it.
Surrender, stepping aside for that wisdom to flow.
Exactly. And it clearly had a huge impact on her own life. After doing this for almost 30 years, she felt her life was filled with great moments of joy and inspiration. Very fulfilled.
It shows the positive potential, doesn't it? Even if it starts unexpectedly.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just about information. Healing was a big part. Andrew actively channeled healing for hospital patients, for clients.
Right, it was a practical application too.
And she tells this powerful story of a young man really struggling with addiction and emotional pain, who actually became a channel himself through this process, became a teacher of light work.
Wow, that really shows the transformative power, doesn't it?
It really does. Profound change is possible when these abilities are embraced.
Let's dig into some of the core ideas that came through. What did the messages say about the nature of spirit itself?
Well, spirit was described as an eternalizing of beingness, something fundamental, undying, beyond physical form, but still having a mind, operating on a level we can't fully grasp. It's like the permeation of all that which completes all things, the underlying fabric, the current that animates everything.
And the soul, the individual soul.
That's seen as the embodiment of all of its many journeys, like a living record of everything you've experienced, seen, touched, participated in across all your lifetimes, your accumulated history and wisdom.
So our current life is just one part of a much bigger story.
Exactly. And that perspective really changes how you view death, doesn't it?
Yeah, it becomes less final, less frightening maybe.
Right. If you see yourself as this eternal soul on a journey, death is more like a transition within that larger existence, not an endpoint.
Makes sense. What about karma? How is that explained?
It's presented as the reaper, the
Okay.
basic law of cause and effect. What you put out comes back. Your actions now create your future experiences.
Okay, standard idea.
But, and this is key, the teachings also said you can change it. You can consciously work to transform negativity, resistance to love, and actually reshape your future karmic patterns. It's empowering.
So you're not just stuck with it.
No, you have agency there too.
And these messengers of light she mentioned, what's their role?
They're beings who transmit information to help with the planet's healing, essentially, to help Earth's evolution.
Like guides?
Kind of, but their main message is always to turn inward. Go internally to the source of your own soul. They're like signposts, pointing you back to your own inner wisdom, not replacing it.
Gotcha. Don't rely on them entirely.
Right. And then there was this concept of the radiant wisdom ray, this blue light energy.
Yes. That sounded interesting. What's that about?
It's described as this energy that helps unlock resistance and fears, stuff held in the unconscious or conscious mind. The idea is to meditate within this blue light.
As a tool for dealing with anxiety.
Exactly. A way to use focused intention for emotional clearing and peace.
And meditation generally was important.
Hugely important. Called a key to the unconscious. a way to quiet the noise, access inner knowing, intuition, find calmness, vital practice.
Okay. And the teachings also acknowledge that people are just different at different stages.
Yeah, different stages of manifestation was the phrase. Some might be caught up in illusion or negativity. Others are more consciously working through the battle of the soul against the ego.
So it's not about judging people as good or bad.
Precisely. The encouragement was to see it all as a process of emerging from different criteria of belief. Have more compassion, understanding that everyone's on their own unique path, learning different things.
That's a much more nuanced view. Now, Antoinette's own health played a big role in her journey, didn't it? The rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh, absolutely. Diagnosed young, reliant on medication. It created a real crisis point for her. That struggle was actually a huge catalyst for her spiritual search.
How so?
She felt a deep need for something more than just the medical approach. And reading As a Man Thinketh was apparently a turning point.
Ah, the mind-body connection idea.
Exactly. It opened her up to the possibility that her own thoughts, her fears, her anxiety might be contributing to her physical condition. A major shift in perspective for her.
And even though outwardly her life looked good, husband, kids, she felt this deep restlessness inside.
Yes, a deep longing for something unrevealed. It shows that inner feeling doesn't always match the outer picture, you know.
Totally.
It was that inner searching that led her to the guiding messages. And she noticed, as she received these teachings about her connection to the Creator, her own healing actually started to happen.
But it wasn't an easy process, this self-discovery. She said it turned her inside out.
Yeah, turned inside out and upside down, a revolutionary change.
Yeah.
It sounds like she really had to confront some core stuff. Deep beliefs, patterns.
It can be disorienting, that kind of inner shift.
Definitely. She even mentions questioning her own sanity sometimes, which just highlights how profound and challenging that kind of transformation can be.
And through the teachings, she started seeing her arthritis differently, in terms of karma.
Yes, understanding cause and effect. She came to feel she'd brought about this rheumatoid arthritis by my emotional and mental makeup, not blaming herself, but recognizing her part in it.
That must have been empowering, though. If you have a part in creating it, maybe you have a part in healing it.
Exactly. It's shifted the control inward. And visualization became a big tool for her then.
How does she use that?
She'd mentally travel through her body, find the pain, and then try to connect it to emotional sensitivities, like feeling overly responsible for everyone, carrying guilt, things like that.
Trying to find the emotional root of the physical symptom.
Right. And then there's the idea of karmic records, memories from past lives influencing the present.
Yeah, that adds another layer. The idea that stuff we're dealing with now might have roots way back.
It suggests the soul's journey is really long, carrying experiences and lessons across lifetimes, shaping our current challenges and tendencies.
So how did these guides actually communicate? You mentioned automatic writing, but were there other ways?
Oh yeah, quite a few. She mentioned strange outer trappings, which she explained as like thought form images, almost mental pictures, sent to get your attention. Also, ringing in the ears, sudden streams of thoughts that perfectly answer questions you've been holding, vivid visions, strong mental impressions, or just knowing.
A whole range of things then, not just one way.
Very diverse. And these messengers of light, their goal is to help us find our own connection to your path in the universe, right? Our place.
Find our purpose.
Yeah. But ultimately, the aim is for us to become our own guide, to rely on that inner wisdom, not constantly need external validation or direction, self-reliance on the spiritual path.
And becoming more sensitive, raising that awareness, it helps others too. It becomes a healing effect.
That's the idea. As you raise your own vibration, align with light and love, you contribute positively to the collective. It ripples out. Personal growth benefits everyone.
Antoinette had some really striking mystical experiences too. That vision of her grandmother.
Right, waking up and seeing her deceased grandmother so clearly. And the fact her father saw it too. That makes it pretty hard to dismiss.
Yeah, a shared experience like that is powerful, and that led her to a psychic.
It did. A friend suggested it. She went maybe a bit skeptical still. The psychic immediately mentioned her grandmother, standing in the doorway with her hat on. A specific detail Antoinette hadn't told anyone, not even the friend.
Whoa. Okay, that's specific.
It was huge for her, a massive validation. She said it pushed her deeply into the real meaning to my life. It was undeniable confirmation.
So that encounter really kicked things into high gear, made her accept this sensitivity she had.
Exactly. It connected the dots for her,
Yeah.
helped her see the sensitivity had always been there, and it really marked the start of her conscious healing and deeper spiritual understanding. The floodgates opened, you could say.
Bridge the gap between thinking about it and knowing it.
Yes. Direct personal experience, that's powerful.
Later on, she met someone, Paul, and felt this instant, deep connection.
Yeah, she described an instant rapport, this almost uncontrollable pull to know him. It felt incredibly familiar, like they already knew each other deeply.
Milk.
The feelings were intense, shaking them to the core, she said. It points to that idea of soul recognition, doesn't it?
It really does. She used the phrase coming home. That says so much.
It does, that deep sense of belonging. These feelings are often linked to, twin flames or significant soul connections.
Yeah.
But she was clear, it doesn't mean a perfect, easy life,
Right.
but more a deep knowing that this connection, this energy is right for your journey together, whatever challenges come up, you feel you're home.
She also channeled another book later, Order of Melchizedek, with a different guide, Azrael.
Yes, and that experience sounded quite different from working with Andrew.
How so?
She described her pen moving almost on its own, revealing past life information that really shocked her at first. It felt like accessing something even deeper, maybe the soul's records directly.
And Azrael was described as the keeper of the consciousness of the soul records and part of the Brotherhood of Light.
Significant titles, yeah, suggesting a role in overseeing soul evolution on a grand scale.
And Azrael's core message.
A clear call for humanity. Open to the light, seek the truth within, find the spirit of love as the beginning source of life. A call for collective awakening, turning inward.
And her personal reaction to Azrael was intense.
Very. Emotionally overwhelmed, tears, trembling, this mix of incredible love, but also awesome fear about the huge changes she knew were coming. It sounds like a massively powerful, transformative encounter.
You can almost feel the energy just hearing about it. Shows the impact of connecting with these higher levels.
Absolutely. Potent forces at play.
Azrael brought through some fundamental teachings, too, like about the masters of the Great White Brotherhood.
Right. Described as beings who've walked the earth, mastered the whole reincarnation cycle, overcome karma. Now they guide humanity's evolution, embodying the Christ spirit, that universal love and wisdom.
And the Bible was framed as a symbolic journey.
Yeah, a collection of stories representing the soul's journey, its longing for oneness with God. Seeing the parables and stories as allegories of that inner quest.
That gives it a different kind of depth. And the Christ consciousness is within us.
That's central. The spirit of love and grace isn't out there, it's in our heart center. Tapping into that connects us to the creative force of the universe, finding the divine within.
What about free will versus destiny? Always a tricky one.
The teaching suggests the soul chooses its main path, the key lessons, destiny before coming here. But then our personality choices in life can either align with that path or block it. And the law of cause and effect shapes how it all plays out.
So we have a plan, but also moment-to-moment choices that matter.
Seems to be the idea. And the ultimate goal is oneness with God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pure consciousness, co-creation, communion. Yes, a state of total unity, peace, merging with universal consciousness and boundless love, the peak of spiritual evolution.
And Earth is essentially a school for the soul. Challenges are lessons.
Exactly. An arena for development, learning, growth through all kinds of experiences.
The teachings even touched on Atlantis, its downfall creating karmic ties.
Yeah, bringing in this historical, spiritual perspective, suggesting collective past actions still echo and need healing now.
And the Aquarian Age is seen as a time for coming
A
together.
time of potential, yeah. For recognizing we're all connected, Earth's resources are shared, moving towards cooperation and enlightenment. A hopeful vision.
And cosmic awareness is the ultimate state, like Jesus attained.
Pretty much. Profound perception, unity with higher consciousness, and forgiveness and using light and meditation are pathways towards that.
This idea of a planetary commission also came up. Light workers helping Earth's transformation.
Yes, like people feeling called to actively participate in this shift by raising their own energy, their vibratory rate, contributing to a new order based on higher consciousness.
And they're connected, this networking of light.
Yeah, this image of people linked energetically, forming triangles of energy around the Earth to lift the collective consciousness, a shared spiritual purpose.
And crystalline energy is part of this new era, bringing clarity.
It's described as a frequency associated with this time, helping with purification, clarity, aligning with the bigger spiritual plan.
The teachings also got practical. talking about abundance, healing the miser inside.
Right. Overcoming fears of lack, of loss, and embracing the richness of spirit as the true source. Shifting focus from just material wealth.
So poverty isn't just lack of money, but lack of connection to that inner spirit.
That's the idea. Recognizing your richness in mind and heart first. It's about letting go of feeling blocked, trusting that freedom and opportunity come from within.
Trusting your destiny is unfolding, letting go of the fear.
Exactly, letting go of doubt, trusting the flow, knowing you're worthy. Inner liberation leads to outer abundance.
The final thoughts really bring it back to love and knowing yourself, don't they?
They do. Love is the binding ingredient, the ultimate unifying force, a free energy without boundaries.
And the importance of the journey itself. Studying how to know yourself, aligning the physical with the divine light.
And acknowledging it's a process. People are at different stages of integrating this, and that's okay. From just opening the door to full attunement.
It also mentioned energy shifts, like in 2003, bringing up inner conflicts.
Yeah, highlighting the need for inner peace and resilience.
Yeah.
Especially when external things feel turbulent. Find your center.
The core message seems to be, trust your inner light. Be still, focus inward, stick to your own truth.
Yes. And if you let go of fearing the future, your vision can actually manifest. Find peace even when things outside are messy.
So, what an incredible journey. Antoinette Moltzan, starting with just wanting some quiet time and ending up a channel for all this profound wisdom.
It really is an extraordinary arc, from ordinary desire to something quite remarkable.
As you listen today, what parts of her story really clicked with you? Did any of her experiences, that reluctance or the insights she shared, spark anything in you about your own inner life?
For me, it's that power of the initial, inexplicable inner urgency. How something seemingly small can ignite such a huge transformation, and the constant link between her spiritual understanding and her personal healing. That feels really key.
Yeah, and that sense of interconnectedness underlying everything.
Definitely. Those are powerful takeaways. And if Antoinette's story or these ideas really sparked your curiosity, her books, Open to Light and Order of Melchizedek, obviously go much, much deeper.
They offer that full immersion into the teachings.
Absolutely.
And it leaves you wondering, doesn't it? Maybe, like Antoinette, we all have this untapped potential for inner knowing deep down. And maybe that journey of self-discovery, however it starts for each of us, can lead to awakenings we can't even imagine right now.
That's a powerful thought to sit with, the potential within.
Whispers creeping through the haze, shadows dance in twisted ways, echoes hum from worlds unseen. This is where the strange convene. Step into the unknown mind, secrets hidden, twist and bind. Truth haunted tones, reality's edge becomes your home. Questions rise like fragile smoke, the uncharted realm silently spoke.